Okay, I'm Jan Lawrence. I'm a dressage instructor in Utah, and I have had chronic back problems for years. And I've developed a set of exercises that have helped me to be able to ride and still have my back issues without having to have a surgery. So I'm just going to show those to you today and encourage you to use these on a regular basis because they make a really big difference. So the first thing that I'm going to show you is this soft, squishy little ball called the Miracle Ball. And these come in a set of 2, and I bought my original set at Barnes & Noble, but they're available on Amazon and a lot of sports stores have them. And the woman who developed this, basically the idea is that you're going to lay on it and let gravity lengthen knotted, tight muscles that are constant in chronic contraction. So this is a really neat thing. A lot of people recommend a tennis ball in a sock, but this is softer and not nearly so harsh on your body. And so I found this to be really useful. Now we're going to actually be concentrating on this area right here to start with, and then out more towards the hips for using this little ball. And I normally spend 5 to 10 minutes laying on this thing and just kind of rolling it around into different places. So I start by putting it kind of right above my tailbone, and then I just relax and let everything drape over the ball and kind of stretch my shoulders and arms out a little bit, try and start to open up the whole body to stretch. And this is something, believe it or not, you have to teach your body to do. So if you sit in a chair all day working on a computer, or you sit in a car all day like I used to when I had a regular job, you develop certain muscle patterns that are hard to break, and this little ball can help you do that. So when you're laying on this, you could just kind of roll down a little bit and put it in a different area and just let it, gravity do the job, let it stretch. Or you can just kind of scoot over a little bit and again let gravity do the stretch for you. And if you Google acupressure points, you'll see some places in your lower back there that are extremely prone to contraction. And this little ball works wonders on loosening those up. So what you really need to do is make a commitment to just spend some time on this little puppy every day, because you'll find it does a really good job for you. Now my tight areas happen to be just on the inside of my hip, so I'm right behind my hip bone here laying on this ball, and I kind of work my way up and down and back and forth. So I just kind of wait until I find a spot that's particularly tight, and then I just relax on it for a few minutes and maybe kind of roll back and forth a little bit so that I have an opportunity to stretch those tight areas out. And I would do this normally on both sides. Now I've already done this once today, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it, but I just want to encourage you to take the time that your body tells you you need, because it's not going to happen right away. When you have a chronic tightness, which is what was part of what was causing my lower back problem, you have to teach your body to relax, and it takes time. So if you've ever done any yoga or anything like that, you realize that. Now the other place that gets really tight is right where this bone, leg bone, attaches into the buttocks. And so that's another area that I like to spend some time on, just kind of massaging that area, working for those tight areas, and it really, really makes a difference in my riding. So if I invest the time to get this right, it gets a lot better. If I don't, I have issues with getting my legs down around the horse, with keeping my heels down when I kick, you know, kind of the typical problems that you see. It can even interfere with my balance, which causes me to take the reins too much. So you want to spend a little bit of time making sure that you have that nice long leg, and this is a big part of it. Okay, so about 10 minutes a day on the ball. All right, now once that's over, then I start the actual leg stretches. And these stretches, again, have been derived from looking on the internet, things that physical therapists taught me. Different people have showed me these, and some of them are just things that I've come up with on my own. So the important thing again is that the hip flexors and this where your gluteals tie in are loosened up. So start by just bringing your leg up like this and just holding it. And again, don't force anything, because the point here is not to make yourself be more sore. It's to be able to be more effective as a rider. So you just want to kind of hold it with your leg pointing a little bit out to the side, and then always, always rotate your ankles so that you're not developing these stretches in a static position, because when you're riding, you're not static, you're dynamic. So you want to make sure that you're doing those ankle rolls as you do all of these stretches. So hold that for a few seconds and take some deep breaths and just kind of let your body get used to the idea that it's going to be longer. And then bring the knee up to the chest. Same thing, roll the ankle a little bit. And we're going to do this whole session twice. So you're going to find the first time it's tighter and the second time it's looser. Another one that I like to do is just to kind of grab my foot and just kind of flex my ankle a little bit and get my feet to relax, because my toes tend to be really tight. Okay, so that's good. Now I'm going to bring the leg across my body, and I'm going to stick my arm straight out to the side here, because these muscles right through here get extremely tight. And I'm just going to kind of take some deep breaths and try to relax right through the trunk here. This is Grace Kelly. She is my quality control officer. So I'm going to just gradually take some deep breaths, and I'm gently putting pressure on this knee to incorporate additional turning and stretching through the torso here. And again, try to wiggle things. So you see I've got my fingers kind of wiggling over here, because again, when you're riding, you're never in a static position, you're always in a dynamic position. Hi, sweetie. She helps me every morning. Okay, and then the other thing, go on. The other thing that I do after I've done this cross the body stretch is I drop the knee a couple of inches. So I start here, and then I go to here and hold it and take a couple of deep breaths. And then I go to here and hold it and take a couple of deep breaths. And you're going to feel different areas of your hip flexors stretching as you take those deep breaths. And the other thing, remember, move your fingers. Don't just sit there and push against everything. And notice that I'm trying to keep my shoulder blade down a little bit, because I tend to be a very tight person. I'm not naturally stretchy. So I've tried to find ways to incorporate additional stretching in. Okay, got that pretty good. Now arms straight up, and I'm grabbing my ankle, and I'm going to stretch the top of my thigh here. So I'm going to just kind of work my fingers out to my toes and hold that. And again, don't force anything. Make sure that you're not going overboard, trying to get too much all at once. And just hold that. And sometimes I'll actually kind of pull the leg back just a little bit, not very much, and then try and increase that stretch across the top, which is so important for dressage riders. Okay, good there. And then the other thing I do is to bring the leg straight up. Now, I do not go for a straight knee, because when we're riding, we never straighten our leg completely. So my knee is a little bit bent. And again, I'm doing the circles with the ankles to try and keep everything a little bit dynamic. And then just kind of gradually, gently bring that up a little bit. Don't bounce it hard, just gentle stretching, trying to make sure that everything is getting nice and long. Okay, so that's the first side. And then we would do the same exercises the other way. So I'll just run through them while you watch. Start with the knee out to the side, pulling gently up. Hold that, roll the ankles a little bit. Take some deep breaths, release through your midsection and your core. And then knee straight up this way. Again, roll the ankles just a little bit. Hold it as long as you feel comfortable doing that. When you feel your body start to give a little bit, that's the time to move on to the next one. And now here on the foot, massage the toes a little bit, because that's probably my absolute tightest part of my whole body. And that's good. And now arm out to the side. Roll across the torso. Gentle pressure here. Hold it. Take a couple of deep breaths. Feel that release. Really important that you're getting the release through here and right here in the pectoral muscles. And then bring the knee down a little bit, gentle downward pressure right here from the hand, not too hard. Don't overdo it. And then one more time down here. Again, not too hard, don't overdo it. And you'll be able to gradually get more and more over time. And you may be more flexible than I am already because I'm not a flexible person. Okay, now arms straight up. Grab the ankle. Be sure you're moving things a little bit. Stretch over the top of the thigh. Pulling the barn back. And again, just keep that very gentle stretch. Don't overdo it. Okay. Now, normally I would repeat all those exercises again. So just know you need to go back and do them again, and you will find that they are much simpler the second time.